Alright, it's Jared from the Touring Camper, and as you can see, I've got my Lego camper and van. Kind of looks like our rig going down the road, but that wouldn't work for what I wanted to show you all. So I took some of the kiddos' Legos, and I built a spread axle trailer here. And I'm going to try to explain as many of these dimensions as I can that we did our measurements on. So the first one I'm going to explain is these camber measurements. Those camber measurements, what we did is we measured at the top of the axle and the bottom of the axle. And what they actually show with both of those measurements is the top is slightly shorter than the bottom, which is a good thing, which means these would be angled in slightly because, I'm sorry, the other way, angled out slightly. So once the pressure came down on the camper, they'll flatten out and be pretty level. So the camber, you want the top to be slightly longer than the bottom. That's what you're looking for. So this one was a little bit out of camber. The next one is where you look at these outside of center. What we did is here you see the front of axle, this is the front and this is the back of that axle. So that's measuring from here to here, and then the back is measuring from here to here. Those measurements need to be dead on for the axle to track properly as you go down the road. And on the front axle, what's essentially happening is the front of these tires is slightly towed in. And then the back axle, those tires are slightly towed out. So the camper was actually going down, that's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's the idea with what the wheels were looking like going down the road, were slightly like that. That's going to cause you to have unnecessary wear. Now the other issue that you see here, we measured from the front back to the front hanger. So that would be from the front center of the ball here to this front back hanger and to this back hanger. What you're looking for there is to see whether your frame is straight or if your frame is bent. Luckily for us, we've got a straight frame, so that allowed some simple replacement, not a more complex replacement. You also see this cross where we go from the front hanger to the back hanger and from the back hanger to the front hanger. Those measurements also should be dead on. If they are not, that's where you have a lot of the alignment issues. So the fact that ours is just slightly off means that one of our axles was tracking down the road a little bit off of the other. That's what was probably causing this inside rear wheel to be the worst of all of the four. Those weren't horribly off, and we also were good on our hangers, so they checked from hanger to center, center to back, and they did that on both sides. Those were both fine, so that means we also didn't have any frame damage there as well. But our major issue was that our axles were going down the road basically with bent axles. The front, not probably as bad as the back, but that's going to cause the excessive wear. So those were some of the issues that we were experiencing and trying to explain some of these dimensions to you. And then I'll explain some of those definitions and I'll type them out for you, dealing with camber and some of those different examples that we were talking about. So that was just a brief tutorial, and hopefully that'll explain a little bit as we go through the rest of the post.